Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready
Ready for what?
to level up?
Okay, girl, let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Raman and Alysha.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about how social media affects our body image and how we see ourselves in society.
Yeah. So, Raman and I have actually maybe touched a little bit of this previously in our other podcast. But before we continue, we definitely want to put a disclaimer out there in case this may hurt anyone mentally, or if this is something you're not comfortable listening to. We will be talking about, social image and our bodies and how it's perceived through social media throughout this entire podcast. So just that forewarning for anyone out there.
Yeah,
But
for
we
sure.
Yeah. So, Raman and I've touched base on this previously. And I know that we talk about this like almost in our everyday life because it's like, you're 30 now and your body's changed from the way it used to be. And I think the most recent thing that we just did was actually Raman and I did like kind of like a cleanse and purge of our clothes this past like couple months, letting go of things that you'll just never be able to fit into. And it's not because of a weight or whatever it may be. It's just that something you used to have back in maybe university days that your body just no longer is that size anymore. It's kind of harder to go back to that. I don't know if ladies out there, men out there, if you felt that way too, that you have a pair of pants that you're like, oh, I'm just never gonna fit back into that. Do I just hold on to them and say like I'll fit back into it after losing weight? Or is it just with age we just don't? So we've been going through that recently too, of like,
Yeah.
is it
And
just
I think I
age?
remember we were talking about how like a lot of people think that like I don't know why people think that they're going to be the same. You can still remain fit, but you're not going to be the same size as high school. Me and Alicia were talking about this earlier that, and you know what? We kind of did this too, where we were like holding on to clothes that we used to fit in like high school and stuff like that, thinking, oh my God, go back. Okay, first of all, like we'll never go back to that weight because you were like we were little teeny boppers.
Mhm.
But I don't know why people think that you can go back to the size that you were like in high school or university. We do grow up and I was telling Alicia, I'm like, oh, my clothes won't fit me. She's like, oh, but you still look good. And I'm like, no, but we're adults now. Like, we have adult bodies. And like, naturally, like, you can still be really fit and healthy, but, your body is not going to be the same way it is in high school. And the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because social media is everywhere. We're all on it. I mean, most of us are on it almost every day, and it does occupy a lot of our time. And we're constantly looking at people and comparing ourselves. And it's natural to compare yourself. It's impossible to be like, I'm never going to compare myself to anybody, but we do it. And, I think women do it a bit more than men. And I think we are a little bit more sensitive as well in terms of like when it comes to our body. And it could be just like all the hormones, but, we are a little bit more sensitive. But social media is all around us. And now it feels like all we see is, Instagram models, right?
Yeah.
And their job is to look hot. And it's like literally, what would they be without their like outfits or their body or their like makeup or their whole glam that they do, right?
Yeah.
And we're constantly like looking at these Instagram models and thinking like, oh my God, like how do they look like that every day? Like how do I look like that and stuff like that? And we're just constantly comparing ourselves to other women. And this is when it causes all these like negative body issues with ourselves, right? We're constantly thinking, why can't we look like that?
I completely agree with you. And I know that, like, growing up, we've seen it in magazines, CD covers, music videos, like the J Lo and everything. But we tend to forget now, like, people are sponsored to wear certain things, have the free makeup,
Mhm.
YouTube people, Instagram girls. They're getting all this free stuff, right? So it's kind of like this lifestyle that they're living. And yeah, you said it perfectly. You have to look good to sell it and promote it and make
Yeah.
that money because that's their job. So it's just like if Raman and I were to do an orientation at work, we're going to put in our 100% because it's our job. We're going to make that presentation look amazing. It's the
Mhm.
same thing when it comes to social media. And I think the problem with social media is that in our today's day and age, we have so many different apps that can
Mhm.
either brighten your face, make you look skinnier, make your teeth whiter. There's just so many different apps that you can play around with.
Yeah.
And I know Raman has mentioned this before, but even just the way you pose. So
Yeah.
if you're posing a certain way in a picture, you may look like the skinniest, most curviest little thing. But then if you do a side view, you probably look like an average woman like everyone else.
Exactly.
And that can really diminish your like mentality, especially if you're someone who's maybe put on weight during this COVID time frame, whether you're a woman or man. I believe it's hard on all of us. So let's like COVID, everyone's saying COVID-19. Hello, I'm over here like COVID-20, more like
Yeah.
people have put on weight during COVID. It's put us in a really bad place mentally and physically. Your mindset's not used to just being home all the time.
Mhm.
Pandemic has put on a huge impact on a lot of our bodies. Whether you've taken this time to go work on yourself mentally and physically, you're coming out of it a lot stronger and different than who you were when you started. But if you're someone who was already in that mind state, you're now going into this as a complete opposite homebody person that you're not. And so, everyone's different in this situation. And that's the main thing. We are all different. And social
Mhm.
media tries to group us in these groups. You're skinny, you're plus size. Now there's mid-size models.
Mhm.
I'm out here like, what?
Yeah.
So, like, why do we need to be a name?
Mhm.
Why? Okay, sizes do not need to define your body
Mhm.
100%. But you know what? It's a way to shop. Okay, whether
Yeah.
you're online or in store, that's fine. But that doesn't determine who you are. You can be a size 12 and still look amazing. I've
Yeah.
seen girls that are really curvy, flat tummy, that are a size 12.
Oh my
And
God, do you follow those two girls on TikTok? I think they're friends, and like one is really like skinny and one is like a little thicker, and they do this
yeah,
like same
yeah,
outfit thing, and they like
yeah.
show how the same outfit can look good on both bodies, and I just love it.
Exactly. I love it. And then on TikTok, you have a bunch of girls that are size 16, 18 that are doing, let me show you Kylie Jenner's look in a size 16 or 18. So, like, very much so, you can rock the same things these girls are rocking if you really wanted to. We're so lucky in today's day and age that we have so many advocates for women of different sizes that are out there making sure that there are clothing available to all women of all sizes, starting from extra, extra small and to extra, extra
Mhm.
large. And, I think that's so important as opposed to being maybe that little girl who was a little chubbier than the rest of the girls in the room, that maybe she's going to the stores and she's not finding her size. I've heard so many stories like that. I've seen so many movies like that, and it breaks my heart that
Yeah.
why did we not have that back then, right? Even for
Yeah.
boys. Like it's such a scary world, and I'm so glad we've come partially out of it. Like, well, at least we have what's available. But now it comes
Yeah.
to that mindset, right? Of
Yeah.
like
I feel
letting
like it's good and bad. Like what you mentioned, it's really great that we are evolving and we're coming out of that mindset. Like now, not all the mannequins are these like literally one size fit all mannequins. Now they are making like different shape
like
mannequins.
Nike,
Hmm.
hands off. Nike's model, that mannequin that came out for plus size curvier woman, hands down, very
That was
impressed.
amazing.
Yeah,
Exactly. But I also feel like for example, we were talking about like, back when there wasn't this much social media and how society was back then. And like thicker women were more like that was sexy. That was considered sexy. That was considered normal. Like Marilyn Monroe was the ideal body shape and that was it. But at the same time in that time period, they did not have like all these social media to compare and like I guess like that much high volume of women to compare yourself with. So as much as we are like moving out of this um, this kind of like I don't know what to call it, like this time period of like, feeling like there's only one type of body image. There's also just so much more on social media now for us to compare ourselves with. But at the same time, we are and we've actually talked about this before too, about this new trend that's coming out. And it literally, I've only started seeing it come out like last year in 2020, but it's women on Instagram showing it's called like a 1 minute transformation. And usually, like before, it would be like all before and after pictures, right? But now it's like how you look post and then how you look not post. And it's called a 1 minute transformation. And I absolutely love this because I do feel like I was like, just like all the other girls, all us women, I would love to say, like, oh, I'm super confident and I've never had body issues, but we all have it. I used to compare myself to these women and be like, I don't look like that all the time. Like, like, how is it 6 p.m. and they still look like, flat abs? And like, I have a food baby right now. So I'm like, where does their food baby go? So you're always constantly being like, are they not normal? Or am I doing something wrong with my workout? Or what am I doing wrong? But now, because of all these 1 minute transformations, it shows that they're just posing. It's
I,
literally just poses.
it's crazy how much of just like standing up straight, moving your leg in front of the other leg can like give you that like transformation of
It's
like an
insane.
hourglass
It's
body.
actually insane.
And like, okay, Kim Kardashian, I'm sorry. Like, okay, when we're comparing to the Kim Kardashians, one thing I'll give it to her, at least she came out and admitted, I wear Skims. Like I
Yeah.
wear, like what are they called again?
Body
What's
shaper?
body shapers. Like I will give it to her. At least she admitted throughout all the years she's been wearing a body shaper. And I'm sure a lot of girls were like, what? Like, but
Mhm,
those who have had to use one or know that when you have a little bit of a tummy still showing or you need that smoothness, you need a body shaper. But it's normalized now because she's making
mhm.
money off of it on top of that. But more so the fact that like the honesty came out. And yes, a body shaper can only hide so much, but at the same time, it really gives that mentality of a difference of a flat stomach and that
Mhm.
little bulge of a tummy that like you said,
The food baby.
and a lot of women have it. And like I'm sorry, we're women. um we have hormones. Our
Yeah.
hormones are going to fluctuate whether it's the time of month or not, and whether you're going to be bloated or not. You look your greatest when you're not bloated, and then
Yeah.
as soon as your period's around the corner, guess what, you're bloated. And let's not also forget that our bodies, like men, have stretch marks, and we
Mhm.
have all these imperfections of going through birth and so many
Mhm.
different things.
And
So
those poses that they do even hide those stretch marks. Like I remember there was this one and she looked like amazing. And then she like shows just a different angle and it showed the stretch marks. It showed the, cellulite and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is what people need to see.
yeah, they do. And Kate, I'm sorry. Every woman has cellulite. You cannot
Yeah.
sit here and tell me that the skinniest girl does not. No, you have it. It's not something you can get rid of. You can maybe blur it a little, but you can't get rid of it. Every woman has cellulite somewhere. If it's not near your boobs or your ass or your thighs, you
Yeah.
have it with age too. As women get older, they get cellulite. It's a natural thing. It's also genetics. And, that's what I feel like a lot of people don't realize too. The other thing I want to address here about social media is plus size women.
Mhm.
So I'm all for size inclusivity, like having as many sizes, that a woman should never feel she can't own or feel sexy or look good in something that her best friend is wearing of a
Mhm.
different size. My thing is, where do we draw the line of being a plus size model and supporting obesity and unhealthy habits to the
Mhm.
point that, like,
I get what you mean. There is like it's absolutely okay. Like I love, women who support like being all shapes and sizes is absolutely fine. And you know what? Like, yeah, we don't want to work out, okay? We don't want to work out all the time. We want to eat the pizza. It's reality. Like what you
yeah,
said, we have hormones. Like we are way more bloated. Our weight may be way higher when we're on our period. Like these things happen to us
yeah,
women. But I think what you're trying to say is that where do we draw the line between it's okay with the shape and size that you are versus like now you are unhealthy, right?
yeah. So that's exactly what it is. And that's my thing. Like, are we supporting that? Are we supporting let's be unhealthy? Because, okay, so I follow a few plus size women in Toronto as well. One of the models is not from Toronto, but her name is Ashley, the one who has her podcast and everything. I don't know if you've seen
Okay.
her. Really gorgeous model.
Mhm.
And she was chubbier, but she shows on her Instagram, she works out every morning. And then she
Mhm.
had a baby and she showed her stretch marks with pride and everything. Like everything she's done, I'm very impressed with.
Yeah.
Um, and now she has a podcast, and she's gorgeous, very curvy woman. She's not flat, but she's thick and she looks
Yeah.
good. And then you have Roxy Earl in Toronto, who was on like the Real Housewives of Toronto or whatever. She's gone through transformation too. So at first I was a little about her because she was like Roxy, my size rocks,
Mhm.
like basically my size rocks, to
Got
say like
it.
no matter what your size is, you rock it, right? And I
Yeah.
really liked that about her. I loved her confidence, and to come on social media and support the underdog of the women who don't have a voice, really amazing. Because she did one even better. She teamed
Mhm.
up with Le Chateau, and she came out with plus size gowns, plus size outfits for women to wear for New Year's and weddings. Then now she's working with I don't know, she's working with someone else. But then I didn't even know Aritzia came out with plus size. And she
Oh,
was the
okay.
first to uncover that size 14 and 16 are now available at Aritzia. And
Hmm.
that was huge. I don't know if she was part of that or not, but I don't know. Now she's doing Joe Fresh swimwear line, a plus size.
Okay.
So I was really impressed with her because she also shows you she talks about stress. She talks
Mhm.
about like being a mom, having a pet, trying to work out but hating working out and wanting
Mhm.
to eat all the food. But she's like, if I don't get on that Peloton bike and do my Soul Cycle class, uh, I'm just hurting myself. And so she
Yeah.
talks about having a clear head and how that balances stress, but it's also good for her body. And I've seen her body transform in the last few months, and it looks really, really good. And like
Yeah.
she looks amazing. She looks happier. She looks like she's glowing. And the other really like amazing thing about her is she calls out these big brands. So she's
Mhm.
on TikTok and her follower base is pretty huge from the States and Canada.
Yeah.
And she calls out, like she'll buy a haul from H&M and she'll be like, okay, plus girl approved, and she's
Oh, I
tall.
like that.
Yeah. But then she got to Dynamite, and there was some things that even she's got big boobs and her shirt couldn't button. So she was like, really, Dynamite? And she called them out. She's like, this is not approved. She's like, who's this going to fit? Like, she's
Yeah.
like, my boobs are huge. And then
Yeah.
she did Zara. So she's done Zara a couple of times and she likes Zara. She goes, I love there's some pieces I get that are to die for. She
Hmm.
goes, and then there's some pieces that are way too short or
Yeah.
they don't fit, they don't close. And she calls them out too. And so, and then I knew she like H&M has been her number one where things are hitting it off and girls are going crazy that they've sold out a lot of items.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive to see someone advocate for those girls to do that.
Yeah.
Bottom line is our looks are our first impression, I feel.
Yeah.
And when you have your looks be your first impression on social media or for a job or anything like that, it's kind of like, is weight a factor, Roman? So, like, as an HR recruiter, have you ever felt as a woman that maybe if you're in a company
Hmm.
and it's traditional and a man is doing the hiring, is he
Hmm.
going to look at a woman if she's plus sized or not and hire her based off of that?
You know what? Depending on what job it is, I do think if it's like any type of like administrative job, that's like more like has to do with your brain. Not so much. And you know what? Even with jobs that do have like require you to go out and have a lot of client meetings and stuff like that, baby sales, account
Pharmaceutical.
managers, I think it's important for those people to, yeah, you do have to come to your interview dressed in a way that makes the manager show that like this is how professional I am and this is how I'm going to present myself to my clients. So I think, but I think as long as you have that like personality and like that go getter, I don't see it as a problem. But then again, like I'm not doing recruitment right now and I know you are. So maybe you'll be able to give a better example.
As a woman, I'm not going to sit here and like be biased towards another woman, whether she's overweight or not.
Yeah,
But
that
I
is
do
true.
feel
But
like
as a man, you're saying,
as a man, I see them doing that. I
okay.
feel like traditionally, your men are who they are, and maybe some women who are in those higher positions, they
Hmm.
want the attractive people on their team over more so of something else.
Yeah, and
And
that's
some
very unfortunate.
it is, and that's the part, like, I don't know, like, do people, or it comes down to like, in the South Asian community,
Mhm.
um weight is a factor sometimes, right? Like, I know when you go to India, they're not the nicest people when you're trying on their clothes. They're
They're
quite
not the
mean.
nicest people when it comes to weight, period.
Yeah,
And
like, "Oh,
I'll
you're
say that
healthy."
bluntly, like being a South Asian woman, I can bluntly say it. We've grown up with it our whole life. Even when you gain a little weight, it's like, oh, looking a little healthy today. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? Well, how
When
dare
did
you?
when did being healthy become such a bad thing?
Exactly. Like, I don't know, in our community for sure, like it's probably like worse than social media.
100%. I feel like it is. We're so harsh on our girls and men and our I don't even know if the men get the same cut, but I feel like women do. And it's really definitely feel like women are treated a lot differently when you're trying on clothing in India. And it also comes down to the fact like maybe some parents say to their daughters if they're a little chubby or a little overweight, oh, you won't find a guy unless you lose weight,
Yeah.
or you won't get married unless you lose weight.
Yeah. Like that's
And
like the only determining factor.
but and that's so wrong. And that's the
It
part that
is.
kills me is that when you're with someone and you're married to someone, over time, looks fade away.
Yep,
So, like,
absolutely.
your looks shouldn't even matter in that decision making moment of
Yeah.
whether you're going to spend your life with someone or not. If we're doing this by looks, then damn, like,
Yeah. You might marry like a psycho.
yeah, like, damn. So,
But I think you did just mention something really important that I don't want to forget is that I think what's important for us ladies to understand is like, for example, that lady that you just talked about on TikTok that does try on different clothing stores and like talk about what their sizing are. Sometimes I think us women forget that it's not us, it's the sizing.
it's
Like
the company.
even I know that H&M's like work pants, I have to buy a bigger size because I don't know what's up with their sizes, but they don't fit like something that I would buy from like a different store versus that store, like they have different sizes. And I feel like us women like take that to heart, that like, oh my God, this is a medium or this is a large and it's not fitting me. But don't forget, like these are size standards to that specific store. And maybe, that's not the store you need to shop at, but you shouldn't feel bad about that. You need to realize that some stores have fucked up sizing, man. It just doesn't make sense. Even like H&M, like tops, yeah. Pants, I'm a little confused with what's going on with their sizes over there.
The corporations are really fucking with their heads, and I completely agree with you. So a girlfriend and I back a few years ago, we used to work in retail. This is like way back in the day, okay?
Yeah.
And we were both like not flat stomachs, but we were decently sized. Like I
Yeah.
thought we looked good now that I look back. And she was a little shorter than me, and we used to love Dynamite. So we used to go to Dynamite Heartland Outlet all the time. And I remember being in the change room. We were the same size. So I remember being in the change room and she's in the one next to me and she goes, "Is it just me or did I gain weight?"
Mhm.
And I come out wearing a top size that I usually would wear. And she came out wearing something she would usually wear in that size. And she's like, "My arms, I can't even lift my hands, like my arms over my head. What is going on? Do I have to go a size up? Like, what is happening?" And I'm like, "This is really tight near my boobs. Like, I don't get it." And I don't know if you noticed this, but Dynamite all of a sudden did a shift in their like department. If you used to shop there, you'll notice this. They did a huge shift and quietly did it, where they shifted to a more professional look, but also mature look, but also for certain figures. And
Mm.
it went real quick. And now if I go onto that website, I definitely see it a lot more. But it was during that time frame I feel that when me and my girlfriend were shopping there, they were in the midst of doing it. And we hadn't gained weight, but it wasn't just me who felt that way. She felt that way too. So I was
Yeah.
like, it made me feel better to have someone admit that too. But I was just like, what the fuck? And I remember not going back that often. Now I've ordered a few pieces from then, and honestly, like, yeah, things are probably fitted
Mhm.
differently. You got to be a little careful on what you order. Chiffon, whatever it is, you got to figure out the sizes based off that. But
Mhm.
excuse me, I was a little surprised back then that
Yeah.
companies would want to do the opposite of what they were already doing. And
Yeah.
that's weird to me because you're driving sales, you're doing well, you're making money. Why would you want to lose the target you have right now to gain another
Exactly.
target?
Especially because now with social media being like so quick on everything, things trend, things go viral, the news spreads really fast on social media now.
Like
So I feel
wildfire.
like almost like companies cannot afford it right now to have that bad social media presence, right? All it takes is like, yeah, that one person posting a video and saying like, what the fuck? What is wrong with your sizes? Like, this is like a large, but look how it fits me. Like, who is this supposed to fit? Sometimes I look at like things and I'm like, who really is this supposed to fit right now? Um, so I feel like companies are a little bit more aware. Like I feel like now, like back in the day, they probably didn't even have a role in a company that was like specific to social media, right?
Yeah.
Now every company has like a department or a team or like, you know, a set of people that's literally dedicated to social media and making sure that everything that goes on their social media is reviewed, has gone through, you know, like all the checks that they need to make sure that they're not going to get sued or they're not going to get backlash or they're not. And you know what? Like everybody is very opinionated. We do have a lot of, so I feel like some things that companies get backlash about are like unnecessary, but you know, that's just like when like everybody feels like they need to protest for something. Um, but now it's just, it's so fast. And I feel like we are shifting away from that mentality, but then we still have these younger girls and they go through mental health issues and like eating disorders and body dysphoria because they
Depression.
depression. And you know what, Alicia, like we're in our 30s now, so we are a bit more aware of these things, but I can see myself being like 20 years old and looking at all these like we didn't even have Instagram back when we were
With
in
these
high
Kim
school.
Kardashians and Khloe
Yeah,
Kardashians.
but if I were on social media and in high school right now, and I would be looking at all these like girls and their crop tops and their TikToks and the like, you know, their poses and this and that, like I think I would, if I was in high school, I would feel that pressure.
Oh,
I would,
100%. Me too.
and it is something you grow out of age because it is something that comes with maturity. So it's not anybody's fault that if you're in high school and you know you feel insecure, but it just happens. Right now it's like they have so many more people to compare to. All we had was Facebook and we were just excited to have like our first social media ever and be able to
I know.
upload like 15 pictures. But these girls in high school now, they're constantly comparing themselves to like the next girl who's doing TikTok beside them, the next girl who's doing better dance moves beside them, the next girl who's, you know, it's like what happened to like let's focus on brains and like smartness. But there's just so
I
much,
know.
yeah, you know, like,
Well,
and I feel like that's what social media is like missing. We have all these Instagram models, but where are all like, I don't know. I don't want to say like smart women because I'm not saying they're not smart, but all the women encouraging like brains and smartness and education, like where are those women?
not even that, but even like your past weekend that you went out, you
Mhm.
ran into some people. And it's kind of like the lifestyle these girls are running because they're pretty little things and they're in
Yeah.
their 20s and they're out there.
Oh yeah, these girls.
Yeah.
Hi,
One
Rocky.
second.
Fortunately, I wish there were more women out there that were, you know, and but I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna say like out of my entire life on social media from 2020 till now, it has been the best I've seen. I've seen women do that 1 minute transformation. I actually follow two girls on social media, and one of them is all about like how when she wanted to be skinny, she was just focused on being skinny and now she weighs a little bit more, but it's all about like being health. So that's one that I
And
follow
happy.
and happy, right? And she talks about like she's like I wasn't unhappy then, but it wasn't healthy for me. I was just focused on like looking a certain way, but I was not healthy.
And it
And
didn't
then
fulfill her.
it didn't fulfill her. And now honestly, she still looks great. Like she looks
Yeah.
amazing. She does not look bad.
I
And then
follow a
there's
lot of girls
another,
like that too.
yeah, and then there's another girl that I follow and she does her um, she just talks about how she was really fit. So she was like one of those fitness models, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? Life happened. Life happened. She lost track and she gained weight. And she's like, I went from this to like this, my now is bigger. And she's like, I'm still trying to, you know, get fit and stuff again. But she's like, life happens, it comes in the way. You can't always keep up, you know, and you lose track sometimes. And it's okay to like
Yeah.
not always have to look like that. So I think, Alicia, like what I want to talk about is like, okay, what can like women do, right? Because although there are these women that like are, very positive. And I think the first thing I would do is encourage girls to follow these types of girls, right? That do encourage like positive body image and do encourage like understanding that they don't always look like that. And they're those women that will open, their Instagram up to show the realities behind the photos. So I definitely think step one is like following these type of women versus just the ones that like look hot in a tight short dress.
100% I agree. I feel like we need to give the underdog more notice, more publicity, more of the stage. Can be very intimidating. Luckily, we started with our voices, but we've slowly gone into TikTok and stuff like that. I know I
Yeah.
had a little less self-confidence going into things like this because
Hmm.
of all those hottie toddies out there. But then when
Hmm.
you look at who really can relate to you, the real life, it's who's being real with you. And that's what
Yeah.
people really want at the end of the day. When you come home from a hard day of school, a hard day of work, you don't want to hear about how great someone's life is. You want to hear the real things. How are you handling the problems? And that one of the things
Yeah.
is body images. So how are we dealing with this? And one thing I'm going to say to all you girls out there, men out there, I think the hardest thing is loving yourself no matter what size you are.
Hmm.
And no matter how many stretch marks you have or don't have, it's or like big or small, it's loving you. So don't
Yeah.
forget to love yourself. And I think that's the most important thing to start off with, because until you don't love yourself, how can you do the things you need to be healthier mentally and physically? So love yourself. And I want to give kudos to the women out there and the men out there that are showing their weight loss on TikTok and on social media of losing 100 pounds and whatever, but telling people how to achieve it and
Hmm.
teaching people this is what I ate to achieve my 100-calorie weight loss. This is what I did to do it. And not just saying, hey, I just did it. Like, I look great. That's it. Not
Yeah.
doing that. Teaching people the steps that not many people may know or have the access or the tools to get. So one of those things are really impressive to do. And yeah, I think like honestly, there's some great people to follow out there. And it's okay to follow the non-typical people because once you give them a chance, you're gonna learn so much from them.
And I think adding on to that, one advice that I would give is if you are somebody who feels that by looking at these women constantly, it is making you feel worse about yourself, unfollow them.
Exactly.
If
Bye,
you're going
bitch.
to bed, yeah, if you're going to bed and you're not feeling good about it and they're constantly like, you need to be self aware, right? If you notice that, okay, like one time, okay, yeah, I got jealous because she looks hot. Two times, okay. But if you notice that you are constantly feeling bad about yourself because you're like, why do I not look like that? Then unfollow them. Honestly, you do need to fill up. If we do spend so much time on social media, we do need to fill up our social media with things that make us happy and refocus our energy and commit to things that make you feel good, right?
I completely agree with you.
Thing that I think that everyone can do, and this is just something very simple, but write little reminders for yourself, right? I feel like a lot of people, for some reason, I don't want to use the word ashamed. I don't know what it is people exactly feel about why they can't do this for themselves, but like I write little reminders all the time and it's not for anybody else, it's for you, right? You don't need to, whether these reminders are on your cell phone, they're on, your like wallpaper of your laptop or your computer or a little sticky note by your desk or where you wake up or on your mirror. Like it's good to have little reminders to remind yourself that you are an amazing person and social media does not define who you are, right? Like you are a smart, confident, successful woman. And it's important to remember, I think, that social media is not what it always seems, right? Yes, these girls look amazing and they make you feel like crap, but how do you know that their life isn't shit? Right? They might have the hot body, the nice dress, and yeah, maybe some sponsored clothing and makeup that we wish we had, but doesn't necessarily mean they're happy. And that's where the whole comparison thing comes to, right? Like, be wise about what you are comparing. You can compare your body image. No, well, we cannot compare your body image. But what I'm saying is, what we do is compare our body image, but don't ever think that that person's life is better than yours because you do not know them.
And
And
not even that, you make your life the way you want to make it.
Exactly. And all we do is we assume a lot, right? We assume these people are happy, they're successful, but don't forget social media only shows you what they want you to see. There are those very rare people who are very raw with you, but most of the people on social media they're not going to post the crappy photo. They're going to post the best photo out of their 50 photos that they took.
So let's start normalizing posting the bad and the good. Let's all take that
Yeah.
step to say, hey, I don't have makeup on today, and that's okay. And I'm going to still post the picture because I'm having an amazing time. And I'm going to still post, strike a pose, and smile. And I agree with Raman. Have your affirmations. I am beautiful every day. Don't
Mhm.
let anyone else make you feel like you're not. And I think most importantly, too, Raman, is that with self love and everything, we could take social media as a learning curve and follow these people as motivation to
Mhm.
maybe be the best version of ourselves and not them. So you can either do that or you can delete the people that don't make you feel good about yourself. Because listen, we have one life, one body, and it's how you treat it and how you decide to work with it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw that movie, Brittany Runs a Marathon on Amazon. I don't know if
No,
you've
I
seen it.
didn't. Not yet.
Okay, so really good movie. It's called Brittany Runs a Marathon. It's about a girl, and I feel like she actually like gained weight for this role and actually lost weight for this role as well. So basically, she has this friend who's like this really skinny friend, and she has a personal goal and she wants to start running. She starts to lose weight, but then she starts to notice that her friend doesn't care and her friend isn't really happy for her and her friend doesn't really believe in her, right? And she realizes that she does have like the person that she's considering her best friend, like she's going to her proudly and being like, I lost this much weight, like I feel really good. And her friend is just like, whatever, like, she's just not there as a supportive
Not being
friend.
supportive. Yeah.
And in the movie her friend says, oh, I've seen this, you'll just gain it back, right? So she actually cuts her friend off. So
Love
amazing.
it.
Like, really love this movie. She cuts her friend off and then she even runs into her in a subway after. And then she like mocks her and stuff like that. But she totally cut her off. And then she chose to make friends that were actually outside like her normal circle, like friends that were encouraging her and friends that were, motivating her and basically good for her mental health. So I think that's really important because I think you and I did talk about earlier about how the people, it's not just social media, but also the people around you might not really give a fuck, right?
Exactly.
And that's why it's really important to do things for you, right? Like you can't be making your life decisions and stuff like that based on what is on social media or like
Or
what
what
your
your
friends
friends
are,
are. Yeah.
yeah, what your friends are doing and what they are saying. Like, I say this all the time, like if you're in high school, like these people might not be around and you'll never see them again, so you're not going to compromise or sacrifice your life decisions based on people who might not even be in your life coming forward, right? And it's okay to cut people out who are not going to give you that positive energy. And if you're trying to do better for yourself and you're trying to step away from like, so in this movie the friend is like the social media friend, like the girl that like poses and does this, like she's like that social media model, but it's jokes because her life kind of sucks. Like her life isn't like what is shown on social media. So I
It's
really
not
like that movie.
purposeful.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. That's a great recommendation and a great example, Raman. I totally agree. Live for yourself, guys. Don't live for
Yeah.
your friends. And there might be those girlfriends in there, that group that want you to look bad. And
Yeah.
so don't always take your advice. I know your friends are your everything in your 20s and your teens and everything. But sometimes, do what your gut says. Feel what's right.
Exactly. And yeah, just to kind of like close off and conclude, I mean, I think the main thing that me and Alicia want to get across here is that social media makes us feel all sorts of things, to each person, it might be something different. And it's important to realize that social media can cause like mental disorders, it can cause a lot of mental health issues. And you need to be aware of how social media is affecting you. And if you do feel like, and social media, I don't feel like like you shouldn't let it affect you because we use it as motivation, like you said, we use it,
Yeah,
as inspiration and stuff like that. So if you are somebody who feels like social media is affecting you and you are doing too many comparisons, I do think it's time to, step back, maybe unfollow, maybe delete, maybe just take a little break. Like maybe you don't have to delete social media forever, but you can take a break from it and focus on you. And, I think this is really important. Like, don't be afraid of the mirror. You know,
exactly. I
a
agree
lot of
100%.
yeah, social media can make you be afraid to even just look at yourself. And you know what? At the end of the day, I do believe that um, the only person that cares the most about you is you. No one's
Exactly.
gonna no one's gonna care about you the way that you will care about yourself. So don't ever not put yourself first, because nobody, your husband, your mother, your father, they will, and these are people that will care about you the most, but nobody will take care of you more than you. So if you don't put
Exactly.
yourself first and you don't take care of yourself, then you're letting those external people and external factors affect your, everyday thinking and your behavior. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. It's not easy. It's hard to kind of like, how do you just, click away? But that's why I think it's important to occupy your mind, um, disconnect, and also surround yourself with people who are going to be good for your mental health.
Do what feels right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. If you have any comments, concerns, or feel like you need to reach out and share a story, please do. We would love to hear from you. If you're not already following us on Instagram, please do at Level Up with Raman and Alysha. And if you want to email us at ramanandalysha@gmail.com. Otherwise, we hope you all a great mindset. We do apologize for Rocky barking in the background,
Yes.
but other than that, we hope you could hear us. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to love yourself.
Bye.
Bye.